Okay, well, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of We Speak Dispatch. I have taken over the podcast waves here from my cohorts here and actually decided to host the program here. So today we're going to be talking about COVID-19. Where do we go from here? How to prepare our dispatchers and our dispatch centers for moving on from this pandemic.
I should have put a mask on, sorry.
See, we're the three rebels and then Leslie's the one that's playing by the rules.
Yeah.
So let's start off with, let's talk to Joe first. Joe, tell me about where you think we should go from here. What's the next steps for us to get back to something that resembles normal for us in the dispatch center?
I would say the first thing we have to do is look at what we've learned and get together and say, what did we implement that went well? What did we not implement that we should have? And what should we be doing on an everyday basis? That's the first and foremost, is to use it as a learning experience and to involve our employees. Now, of course, this is when we can get together and we can have more than 8 or 9 people in a room or whatever your rules may be at your state. So it's just use it as a learning experience rather than just to file it away when we're done. I think we need to focus on what we can learn from it and what we can add to our centers and maybe even what we can take away in some instances.
Very good. Yes. Leslie, tell me what you think.
Well, I think that just the fact that it happened has changed the way we approach things. I mean, just at my center alone, before COVID-19, when we would have a meeting, we'd have to schedule it and, people would have to come in on their days off and it was a whole big thing. And now Zoom and Skype and Facebook groups and Teams and all that stuff. So that's the good takeaway, like Joe's talking about. But I think getting back to normal, I don't know, we have to define what normal is. And I don't know that we've gotten that far yet. But I think some of the things that aren't going to go away will be, the sanitizing, the making sure the center is clean, which we all needed that to happen anyway. So, yeah. And then just, how the citizens are going to modify what they do. So it'll be interesting.
Very, yes. Give me your take.
I tell you what, I hate to be like a doomsday prepper, but I used to watch this program called Surviving Disaster, and it was 10 years ago this darn show came out. And one of its best episodes was how to deal with a pandemic problem, and it talked about raiding the stores. It talked about all these things that are happening right now. I watched it the other day again. I'm like, this was 10 years ago, and what did we do to prepare? Nothing.
We raided the stores.
We raided the stores. And I'm like, it's just insane the way we knew this was coming. We knew things were going to be happening, yet nobody prepared for it. It's kind of like earthquakes. It's kind of like other disasters. We know they're there. We know they're coming, but we're all saying, I'm going to get to that. We're going to schedule a meeting on that someday in the future. Nobody's thinking. And I'm always trying to tell people, like, this stuff can happen. When I teach around the country, I've always talked about earthquakes because everybody come from California. It's a big thing. Everybody says they never affect us. Jill's from Maryland, and they had a pretty significant earthquake back there, and everybody was like, what in the world's going on back here? It's like we all have to be ready for this stuff. So this is just a great way to kind of like say we should have been ready before, but now we're going to have to get ready right now.
Very good. Yes. I think the next steps and what I'm hoping that I can do at my agency, and I'm hoping that others will do at theirs, is sort of to do a debrief. When you do a debrief, anybody that's involved in the incident, they go through a debriefing and sort of kind of like that. Get patrol together with dispatchers, get the detective bureaus together within fire departments. Get your line level firefighters together and go talk about, wow, this was really hard for me, and this is stuff that I was really struggling with, and how do we make that better in the future, and where do we go? How do we respond to calls now, and how do we even give safety information over the radio? Usually we say universal precautions, but is that enough?
Right.
We still keep continuing to do that. So yeah, those are some of the things that we've been talking about. But Doug, I really like how you said that we should have been prepared. This was our opportunity now to say, okay, going into the future, we need to be prepared. How physically prepared are we in the dispatch centers for some type of emergency or disaster?
I know that the officers I used to work with were all told, don't put hands on somebody without wearing gloves, because we have a lot of people out there that are, have a lot of things going on with them. But I would constantly see people cuffing somebody up, no gloves. And I'm like, this person looks like they probably need a bath or something's going on there. And it's like, you're touching them with your bare hands that you're now going to get in your car and contaminate everything in that vehicle. And I'm like, we can tell everybody, but whether they participate and practice it is a whole nother issue.
And you know what? It's funny. One of the things that when all of this started, and it was so weird, and I don't know why it was weird for me, maybe because I come from a police only agency, but I have no problem asking, you know, is anybody under the influence of drugs or alcohol? Are there any weapons involved? You know, all that stuff. But now suddenly I'm asking intimate questions like,
Are you married?
Yeah, no. Are you showing any symptoms of COVID? You know, is anybody sick or quarantined? And it was just so outside my normal questioning that it was like, God, this is weird. Because
and how to respond to that when you're not used to it. Oh, I'm sorry you're sick. Or okay, we're not coming. Yeah, meet us outside.
But then again, they're asking questions. I mean, I know you guys are asking questions on the phone with people, but I recently taught a class and I realized I have to make sure nobody knows where it was at because it was an undisclosed location, but they wanted to train. They considered it essential. So I had to go with a mask and teach a class. And I will tell you, they asked the same questions. Have you had a fever? Have you traveled outside of the state? What's to prevent anybody from saying no? And they're lying.
Yeah.
Like,
the other thing that I've noticed is that this is starting to bleed over into restaurants taking temperatures before you go in, gyms asking you the same. So a lot of the businesses are starting to ask the same questions, which I think in turn does help 911 for more of an understanding when we ask the same questions.
Right.
When it first started, we were kind of the only people asking those questions. And now that we have other businesses doing it as well, I think the citizens are going to become more used to it. And so I think that'll help 911 in the long run as everybody adapts to the changes.
Yeah. And it's also when you're looking at, you know, okay, what does the suspect look like? You know, what race are they? What gender is he or she? How tall are they? What color is the mask they're wearing?
Yeah, that's been the normal.
Yeah.
Well, I know that we had a bank robbery not that long ago in our area, and the pictures they showed on the police website saying, there's our suspect. Guess what? They had a mask and a hat on just like everybody else. So I'm assuming everybody's pulled over at the same time. Like, are you the bank robber?
Yeah.
Just imagine if you're wearing a hat, sunglasses, and a mask.
Yeah, you can't see anything.
You can't even tell if they're male or female.
One of the things that we had at our agency that maybe, you know, at your departments you shared as well is the concept of essential workers.
Yeah.
And now, you know, that whole idea of without us, nothing happens, yet we're still fighting for that title of first responders. Yes. But also recognizing that some of our staff are married to or somehow involved with other essential workers.
Yes.
And I think, and maybe a little of this goes back to what Doug was talking about. What's your plan B and C and D for your children, for your family, for taking care of elderly parents or those who are in high risk? You know, we can't, I don't know. And that's where I don't know what normal is, because I don't know that we're ever going to go back to not thinking about that like we have.
But see, when I hear people say that, I think about 9/11. When 9/11 happened, everybody said, nothing's going to be the same. Everything's going to be different now.
Right.
Guess what? Not that
much. Back to, yeah, you're right.
It's the same principle. When HIV was big, when AIDS was a huge epidemic, I don't remember people losing their minds wearing a mask everywhere and walking around. It was there. We knew it was a thing to deal with. And, you know, you just accept what's going on in society. You take your own precautions. But now it's like a flu and everybody's, oh my God, wear a mask, wear gloves, social distance with everybody. I mean, it's people are overreacting.
We could talk about this for hours.
Yeah.
As we start to wrap this up here, think about some of the things that have changed here that have been for the good. And let's talk about that real quick. Okay, Joe, give me something that's changed for the good.
Yeah, Joe's like, I got something.
I got something. I saw it.
I think the number one thing that we did was we started having meetings with the people whose PSAPs ring into our PSAP when they get overloaded, or if they
Oh,
need to
yeah.
transfer 911 calls to us. And we started just asking them, you know, are you guys still full staff? Yes or no? So that we knew that if they were starting to lose staff and they needed to start looking at possibly rerouting calls or in order to provide the same level of service. And so we started talking to the people who also back us up as well, and that we back up, and we had conference calls with other 911 centers rather than just having meetings with ourselves. I would like to see that continue, whether there's a pandemic or not, just to stay in touch, because it was awesome to say, well, what technology changes have you guys made to better adapt with this? And you got all sorts of ideas from 5-6 different agencies, and it really formed an accountability group, which helped us move forward.
Yeah, I completely agree. We had similar meetings over the phone, obviously distance, talking about, you know, even if we had to shut our center down for a day because somebody was infected and we had to sterilize it, who would we turn to? And that backup. And I know the We Speak dispatch, we've talked about dispatching from other locations. And again, like Joe's saying, that's something that I think we need to continue to talk about, because maybe not this, but something else. And so don't just say, oh, whew, we got rid of that, so now we don't have to worry about it anymore. Continue those meetings. You know, that secondary PSAP, the alternate PSAP locations, the technology that's shared. And I think it's got to be something that you prioritize. Don't let it fall off your radar screen just because we're getting back to normal, because something else is going to come along, and we need to be prepared. Like Doug was saying, we need to start talking about this before it actually happens.
Definitely. Doug, give me your thoughts.
You know, I go back to, like, several years ago, the FBI caught a terrorist plot to put poisons or something like that in salad bars throughout the state, throughout the city. And they said, okay, we got to be careful of this stuff. Have you ever been to restaurants where they still have open salad bars? Of course.
Yeah.
People relax themselves saying it'll never happen here.
Right.
Got to start thinking maybe it might. Let's think about our precautions, especially in public safety.
Yeah.
What are we going to do about how to handle these things?
Right. And it's not like any of us, we can just say, oh, well, just grab that officer off the street. They can come in and work dispatch. Or, you know, oh, it's fine. You know, even all of us with the years of experience that we've had, chances are none of us could sit down in the other's PSAP and go, okay, I got this.
Right.
You have a different CAD system. You have a different phone system. You do different codes. And I think maybe getting back to normal will include the global perspective on dealing with public safety. Hey, let's step away from, and I know we're supposed to be doing this, and my agency is bad at this. Let's step away from codes. Let's use plain talk. Let's discuss how we can get our CADs to talk to each other, and some of that technology that needs to be more interoperable. And again, like Doug's saying, that's the word from September 11th. How many times did we hear interoperability?
Yeah.
Yes.
And yet,
yeah,
we're still not.
Yeah, the biggest problem was their lack of communication.
Yeah.
And has that been resolved? I don't think so.
That's always the biggest problem in all of these things. It's communication. It's
right.
Sales. We got to keep that going.
Communication is the most important thing.
So Joe, just curious where you work when we're talking about communication. How many agencies can you speak to on your radio system? If something horrible happened, do you have the ability to just pick up a mic and talk, or is it still you're relying on phone calls to make that notification?
Yeah, absolutely. We have what's called a PSAP to PSAP radio channel that they put in for us. And it's other agencies that are on our same radio channel. So we can speak to all of the PSAPs right over the radio, but it's not out on the radio for the officers to hear. It's a PSAP to PSAP radio channel. And then the people and the agencies that come on our radio system, we have that as well. And there's more counties that are coming on it. And then there's also a statewide radio system where we could key up and do an all call across the state if need be. So I think the state of Iowa's going in the right direction.
And I think for those who are watching, if you're like, wow, that sounds kind of cool, I wonder if we have that. Find out.
We do. I think we do. And at our agency, we don't necessarily have that, but we have a neighboring agency that is in a different county that has nothing to do with us that can actually put together all of our radios. They have a system in place.
Yeah.
They invested in the money where they can just link us all together, and they've given us training on it, but we've never taken advantage of it.
Right. Yeah.
Probably fun.
Learn how you can communicate with everybody. That's
Yes.
the
Right.
takeaway. That's
Okay,
the new
so there we
normal.
go. The big takeaway from COVID-19 is communication is the essential link for
What do
everybody.
you know?
I know, the very first responders. Da da da. Okay, so as we wrap this up here, we want to thank you, everybody, for joining in. If you like this, please make sure that you hit the like button below. Any questions or comments, you can leave them all below, or you can email us at wespeakdispatch@gmail.com. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Hope you all have a great day. Take care.
See ya.
Bye.
Keep
Thanks, everybody.
communicating.